Hi, Frank Thacker here, and welcome to the Daily Peacemaker. And we're going to talk about the omega point today. The omega point. Now, what is that? Well, let me give you a little background. So, a couple of sessions ago, we talked about the notion of Ubuntu, which is a South African word. It has a lot of different translations. The one I love the best, excuse me, is I am because you are. And it encapsulates the notion of how we're all interrelated. It's not kind of like a codependent, oh, I couldn't exist without you. It's more about the relationships of people that we get meaning from each other. We get meaning from being in relationship. So that's sort of the collective aspect of humanity and how we are all interrelated. So then the last session, we talked about the individual. Like, yeah, there's a collective, but what about me? You know, why am I here at this point, in this time, in this place? And we kind of walked around in that a little bit, and we got the notion, or not the notion, but we looked at the reality that we all basically are here through a process of evolution that happened 13.5 billion years ago. So it's taken a long time for us to get here. And so that's important to look at where we have come from. And I talked to some friends afterwards about this whole notion of why am I here? 13.5 billion years ago, something started that brought me here to this point and this time, and the same for anybody that's listening or watching this. So given that position, why did I show up now? And so I talked about that, as I said, with some friends, and then one of them pointed out, in order to fill in that piece, maybe you need to look at where we're going. You kind of say, like, what's your end game? So what one's goal is, or what one's belief is as to where humanity is going or where they are going as an individual, is going to help them, I believe, uncover why they are here now at this point in this time. Which brings us to the omega point. So the omega point is an idea, a concept, a belief that there, Teilhard de Chardin, I don't have all the technology to flash his name up there, but it's Pierre Teilhard, is Teilhard, D-E, Chardin, Chardin. That's his last name. His first name is Pierre. Excuse me for a minute. And he was a Jesuit. He's a priest, a philosopher, a mystic, a scientist, a great writer, a poet. So he came up with the idea of the omega point, which is a little nebulous to describe it, but it's his belief that humanity can evolve to this point where there is full unity and great diversity, and it's a place where it's hard to describe. I think we've all probably felt periods of where we're feeling really grounded, really solid, really connected, really full of joy and gratitude. And that's, I think, what the omega point is going to be like, or that's what he's explaining. And that's kind of my end game too. I believe that my purpose here, my general purpose, wide purpose, is to help humanity evolution move to that place of that he called the omega point. And so with that in mind, we can go back to the individual, and the omega point again is is really hard to solidify and get a real tight. This is the omega point. But I think you get a sense of it. It's something, people say we want peace. That's another way of looking at it. It's a place where the inherent worth and dignity of all living beings is really respected and honored, and where there may be differences and diversity and stuff, but those are resolved. Any conflict, if there is one at that point, is resolved through nonviolence. And with conflicts that are resolved through nonviolence, there is often a new truth that arises. So we've got the Big Bang, which Teilhard refers to as the Alpha, and you've got the Omega. And in my belief, humanity, evolution, consciousness, life is moving through this process from the Alpha, the Big Bang, to the Omega point. It's been working on this for a long time, 13.5 billion years. And now it's moved. One of the big advantages is life has created a self-reflecting being, namely humans. So given that, getting back to the individual, okay, what can I do? What can you do as an individual in this point in time? And again, it can get very specific, but there are two things that are sort of intertwined that I think we all need to be looking at, and that is our own evolution, our own growth, and nonviolence, living nonviolent, and they sort of get intertwined. And when you look at your own personal evolution, your own growth, there's a couple of really good, I guess they're models where you can see the different stages and how to advance, if you want, to the different stages. A broad picture of that is there's the egoic stage, which is where it's all about me, and that's my center of gravity. There's the ethnic, I think they call ethnocentrism, ethnocentric. I can't even get it out. It's about the second level is about your where your tribe, your family, your group, your nation, your church. That's where you're grounded. That's your center of gravity. And then there's world-centric or cosmocentric, which is you're concerned about the world in general and about all people. So those levels each have a place, and as you move from the ego to the ethnocentric to the world-centric, you don't disregard the good of the other stages. Every stage has some good, and the whole point is to transcend but include. So if you go from ego to ethno, you don't like throw away yourself. There are some things you need to be focused on for yourself to take good care of yourself. And if you move from sort of the tribal to the world, there are a lot of good values in the tribal. There's that sense of connectedness and the importance of family, and yes, your nation making it as best as it could. So that whole notion of transcend and include. So the point then becomes, where's your center of gravity? Is it still stuck in the egoic one, or is it, and I think this is where most people are in this ethnocentric, which is your church, your nation, your group, those are the best. That's nothing can be better than that. And that causes obviously a lot of conflict. And then so the notion is to get more towards this world-centric, where you're concerned, your center of gravity is making this planet a better place for all living beings. So maybe in next session, we can explore those levels complexify them a little bit, there's maybe 8 or 10 you can look at that um, are a little bit more specific to the movement upwards. And tied to that is especially as you move to the world-centric, nonviolence, living nonviolently becomes very important. All right, so we have a framework sort of from alpha to omega, and maybe a lot of people don't buy into their end game is maybe not this creation of oneness with diversity. Maybe a lot of people might believe that you die and that's it, and other people may believe no, it's all about me and making my life the best I can. So, in order to delinify as clearly as possible why are you here at this point in this time, it's so those frameworks of your own evolution and the movement towards living nonviolently are something that apply to everybody. So then the next thing would be to look at, okay, then specifically, what is it that I'm being called to do at this point in this time? So let me end there, and we'll maybe explore that a little bit more next time. So thanks for listening. Always good to be with you. And peace. And hope to see you soon. Take care.